I'm Drew.
And I'm John, aka Colin Tate. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
Today we're discussing Possessor from 2020, which is a grounded, gritty sci-fi body horror film.
A Cronenberg making a body horror?
That's right, directed by Brandon Cronenberg, David Cronenberg's son. Brandon Cronenberg had directed films up until this point, but this is his breakthrough film. The thing about this movie is that Possessor was being written when all of the Edward Snowden shit had hit the fan. So people were woke to how the government was spying on people. And Brandon Cronenberg figured that possession of someone else's body is the worst type of intrusion on someone's life. I can't disagree with that.
I would say I would agree with that. I didn't know about the Snowden element. That's interesting. I definitely see it in there.
Yeah, so this movie is about being downloaded into someone else and then committing murder. And about how all that can be made realistic, basically, and it is very realistic in this movie, and it's a mind bender, and it's fucking wild, and we're gonna get baked and talk about it. All that and more today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. All right, yeah. So before we talk about Possessor, let's talk about director Brandon Cronenberg for a second. But let's get let's smoke a little bit first. What's this called? What have I got in front of me?
Some more of that black cherry punch. I haven't got anything new, so nothing special to share with you.
Oh, the beautiful shit that you posted on Instagram.
Yeah, like I said, like that Kiefer Sullivan is growing in the bottom of the grinder.
It's smooth, man. It's so
smooth. It's purple. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have any bud to contribute today, but I have a new vape cart from Cali Bud called Flavored Glacier, and we were hitting this earlier. It tastes like cotton candy and mint. It's delicious.
I don't taste any glacier in it.
So director Brandon Cronenberg, he decided that he wanted to be a filmmaker when he realized that his initial goals in life, to be a writer, painter, or musician, were all things that he could do through making movies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he took up studying at Ryerson University in Toronto, Canada, and his first two outings behind the camera were short films, Broken Tulips from 2008.
Tulips?
And The Camera and Christopher Merck in 2010. Then his first feature, Antiviral, starring Caleb Landry Jones from Get Out and X-Men First Class. Then he did a few music videos, another short film, and then bam, in 2020 he dropped the bomb that is Possessor, the film that put him on the map, and just about every genre fan has him on their map right now, and we're doing an episode about the film.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think he also took up studying his dad as well. I'm sure that was a big help.
It's just this movie just feels like it comes from the same blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely. Like I was gonna say, you definitely could see some elements of Videodrome present. I mean, and we just did that last week, so go back and listen to that. But
this is kind of like a continuation episode. We're doing like Mindbenders. We've Censor, Videodrome, now Possessor. We're kind of continuing this whole Mindbender thing. I like it. Movies that make you think.
Yeah, like it's another movie we're dealing with where somebody's hallucinating and having trouble separating from reality, really. But Possessor, like you said, it's a sci-fi, like psychological body horror from 2020, written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. And you can see, like I said, some elements of Videodrome. He learned well from Daddy Cronenberg. It stars Andrea Riseborough and Christopher Abbott, along with Rossif Sutherland, who's Donald's son, and Kiefer, our boy in the bottom of the grinder, Kiefer Sullivan. It's his half-brother.
Yeah.
And I think it's Tuppence. So, never seen that name before. Middleton, Sean Bean, the Warden of the North, Eddard Stark, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Riseborough plays Tasha Vaz, an assassin who performs her assignments by possessing the bodies of other individuals. And she does this through an implant installed in the host's brain. And then she has a special machine. It's almost kind of like the Matrix. Like she just plug it in, drop it in. Was it like jacking in? That sounds wrong.
I'm
not using that term.
I'm going to veto that one.
That's going to get us canceled. She uses a machine. She puts her conscience into their minds. Her new host, Colin Tate, played by Abbott, he ain't having that shit, though. He fights to keep himself.
And let's just talk about Andrea Rosenborough, though. She's been acting since the early 2000s and has had roles in Birdman with Michael Keaton. I wasn't a fan of that movie, but it was critically acclaimed. And Oblivion with Tom Cruise. And she does a great job in this movie. Her facial expressions, man, you feel what she feels.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And a little quick side note, you mentioned Oblivion with Tom Cruise. I hated that movie. I didn't see Birdman, but I hated Oblivion. There's like a 5-minute scene of Tom Cruise just taking jump shots, playing basketball on like this busted ass earth.
So it's like a Castaway, but with Tom Cruise. I'll pass.
And just one more thing on that. Yeah, the thing that really made me mad is they definitely made it seem like Morgan Freeman was in that movie a lot more than he was. Anyway.
He just has the appearance of God at this point. But and real quick though, Christopher Abbott, as you had mentioned, yeah. He who plays Colin Tate, I know him from the slow burn horror film It Comes at Night. And I loved that movie. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked that movie. Besides that, I'm not familiar with his work, but he does a fantastic job in this film. He carries his own, although I do think that it's apparent that he's like the less rehearsed one between him and Andrea. He's not a veteran like she is. You can tell her acting's a little bit more honed in, but their chemistry works perfect on camera.
Yeah, and this film, it's set in an alternate 2008. Definitely a lot different than the 2008 I went through.
Yeah, right. Well, that's exactly. Production designer Rupert Lazarus said that Possessor, quote, wasn't the world we currently live in. It's as if 20 years ago we went in a different direction. So where we are now, we went right, and then they went left. And yeah, Brandon Cronenberg confirmed that it's an alternate 2008. They wanted it to be futuristic, but also grounded and believable. And it does feel like something that could happen.
Yeah. Tasha Vaz is an assassin who takes control, like we said, of other people's bodies. But the way she returns to her own body is she forces the host to commit suicide at the end of each job. And it's that's a pretty shitty way to go. Like, somebody comes into your body, they take you over, have you commit all these horrible crimes, and then when they're done with you, they don't just, like, leave your body. They gotta fucking, like, blow your brains all over.
Yeah, right. It's yeah. That's their exit of your body is suicide. So you die. Not only do you get possessed and commit a murder, but goodbye, you're dead afterwards. I mean, not that you'd want to go to jail and shit and deal with the repercussions of something you didn't do anyway, but yeah.
Vaz is struggling big time here. She can't fully separate her work from her interactions with her husband. Like I said, more of somebody that's having problems dealing with reality. And we didn't even really necessarily plan it this way, but I feel like this has been all of our films recently. Maybe we're in some kind of like emo mood or something.
Yeah, because you had mentioned you wanted to do Donnie Darko next. So,
I know.
Yeah, maybe.
And then Michael, played by Sutherland, plays her husband, and the son Ira is played by Gage Graham. This one, Arbuthnot. That's what I'm going with. I'm so terrible with names. She practices basically assuming her normal persona the way she would do the same of impersonating her host. She's spending so much time out of her body that she's just having trouble connecting. And thoughts of violence haunt her during her ordinary domestic life, when she's putting her kid to bed or having sex with her husband. And her handler's retired assassin Gerder, who's played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. And she's rather than, oh, you need to connect with your family, her idea is like, no, they're fucking holding you back.
Man, she's an acting veteran, man. Jennifer Jason Leigh, everything she does is amazing. I loved her in The Machinist with Bale. She plays that boss in the movie. That is trying to toe the line of... She plays the boss in Possessor, I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, there we go. She plays the boss in Possessor that's trying to toe the line of business and caring for your laborer, i.e. Voss. You can tell that she doesn't care in that corporate way, but really wants to care. It's like she's missing that part of like being human or something.
Yeah, and she thinks that like that's just perfect and Voss should be the same way.
Yeah, it's almost as if like becoming a machine is like the future. Like trying to be as close to a machine and as thoughtless and as emotionless as possible.
Like her whole idea is Voss would be like a better killer if she just like didn't have any attachments to anything.
Agree, yeah, and real quick, let's also mention.
Gotta kill the old flesh, so to speak.
Let's talk real quick. A lot of vaping in this movie.
Yes,
a lot of vaping.
Alternate 2008, like what was it like?
Speaking of which, I'm gonna pull this vape right now.
Fair enough. Was it like 2012, 2013? Is that when like the vaping I feel like was like at its peak? I don't have shit on alternate 2008. Like,
no, motherfuckers walking
I
down the
told
street
you like
with
10 minutes into the movie, I think I felt it probably was longer than that, but that's how it felt. I was like, they are vaping a lot.
Excessively.
This is a lot.
Well, the vapes in the movie, they're all cluttered with like cartoons and designs, and that's based off of Brandon Cronenberg using Japanese pain bags as the design for the way the vapes looked in this alternate reality. Pain bags are like purse bags with anime characters on them that get cluttered in buttons and stuff from their owner. So, interesting.
And I wanted to point out, like how I said they go in like Matrix style into people's body. It's almost kind of like a VR machine, just like from Videodrome, like his dad. Although they're using like some kind of like, it almost looked like a Golden Tee trackball looking John.
Yeah.
like those rollers you would have for like Golden Tee to play at like the bars at golf game where you just rolled that ball.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And as I was saying, Girder's suggesting to kill the old flesh, and Voss sorts through like a series of objects associated with their personal memories at a debrief, and she pauses on a butterfly that she pinned and framed as a child. Like, what you see on those like bug boards or whatever the fuck they're called, where like people would like display the insects with like little pins. Mm-hmm. And she tells Girder she feels guilty for killing it. And even though she's in an unstable state of mind, Voss agrees to perform a major hit on a CEO, John Parse, played by, as I said, the Warden of the North, Eddard Stark. Got himself killed way too early because he didn't know how to play the game right.
Best character on the show, though.
Sean Bean. And his daughter, Ava, played by Tuppence Middleton, by possessing Ava's fiance, Colin Tate. So she goes into Tate's body, and she's going to take out Sean Bean and his daughter. I mean, I guess the hit goes kind of good, half bad.
Yeah, halfsies.
Halfsies. Ava's gone. She got killed. Surprisingly, it wasn't Sean Bean first. But he's still alive, and so John's still alive. And then Voss tries to get up out of there and make Tate shoot himself in his head. She's trying to get up out of there. Like I said, so she can leave Matrix style, just drop on out. But Tate ain't having it. He decides to fight for himself.
Yeah, and let's talk about how the effects in this movie are mostly practical. There's very little CGI used. Even the coloring was practical and not a color grading trick. They used red gel to cover the camera lens and green blood so that it looked like blood through the red colored lens. They also had glasses with red gel on them so that they could use them to see what the camera would see and set up the shots. I mean, this movie put a lot, working on this movie had to be a creative dream. Seriously.
And speaking of more, I guess not behind the scenes, but like for cinematography, the movie is very bright.
It is. Yeah, that's true. It doesn't, instead of having those dark, it's like yellow and red, really, like yellow and red are the color palette. And the ketchup and mustard, them Hulk Hogan colors.
It comes crashing down. Anyway, back.
They ripping faces off of this bitch. We don't rip shirts. We rip faces off of Possessor.
Damn, that's true. Yep. I mean, it definitely lives up to the body horror, and it definitely lives up to. It's definitely messy. Tate, as he's fighting for himself,
I swear, it sounds like you keep calling it Tate.
I swear, I mean, maybe subconsciously, but I thought it was Tate. Tate, not Taint.
It's Tate.
I'm going to make that a shirt. Tate, not Taint. Make that a hashtag. Anyway, Tate, with no I or N, instead stabs himself in the fucking dome. He damages the implant. It stops Voss from evacuating Tate's body or overpowering his mind. And he starts coming to, but he has zero clue except that he doesn't know why the fuck he killed his girlfriend, or while he's got these like false, like partial memories from someone else that we end up being Voss's memories.
Yeah, and this is where the movie gets really deep into the shit now. As soon as Tate becomes aware and avoids the interruption of stabbing himself on the top of the head, that's where shit starts hitting the fan. And this is where the imagery really starts coming into the movie, and the intensity, and really it's about the battle of wills. At this point, it's about the battle of wills. It's this man literally fighting to be himself, to not be overtaken by somebody. It's like, it's hard to not root for him because you get him, but you also really like Voss. So it's you're kind of rooting for her too. You know what I mean? How did you feel? How like think of that? Did you even think of that? It's one of those, such a complex movie. Thinking about it, who are you like a fan of? Are you like not Tate, or are you like Voss?
I mean, I gotta go with Tate. Like,
I feel you. Yeah, that's how I feel too. But still, you kind of like Voss though, right?
Yeah, and we always talk about these movies where like people are fighting for a body. Like a lot of like your more religious horror stuff has that. How exactly does one like have a spirit fight like for your body? Like how, like they're always like they're fighting.
Ask a Cronenberg.
Yeah, I guess that's fair if we could get one of them all. But I've always thought about they're like, oh, they're fighting. Like, how are they fighting? They just thinking harder. Like, this is my body.
No,
like,
I swear, dude, that's one of the things about this movie and like, as you would put it, Daddy Cronenberg's films, is that I think that like between Brandon proved that he's doing it too now with Possessor, but I feel that with him and his father, they're able to capture things on cinema that if you were explaining it, you like you just said, a fighting for emotions or battling for a body. Like, imagine like that. How would you do that? And you see how they would do it, and you're like, damn, you know what I mean? Like it's yeah, just wild shit.
Yeah. And Tate, he runs to his friend Rita's apartment, played by Kenahito Horn. That's way wrong. But anyway, look it up. You can get the name. Why? Can I just like get one episode where these people's names are like easy?
You're gonna have to start YouTube and shit to like hear people's
how
names
to pronounce. Anyway. He kills Rita while struggling with a partial memory of the hit of Parse and Ava. And Eddie, played by, here's another one, Raul Benhea. That's what I'm going with.
All right, sounds decent enough.
He's decent enough.
Sounds closer than the others.
You have no frame of reference for the name. It's just like it sounds legit to me.
That's believable.
Who's another employee from Voss's company arrives at the apartment in an attempt to complete Tate's suicide. They fail on that too. He's a resilient bastard, right?
Yeah, he's mousy little fucker.
Mousy little fucker. And Voss is still unable to make Tate kill himself. Instead, Tate becomes aware of her presence inside his body. His conscience overpowers hers in a psychic confrontation, giving him access to the memories of her husband, child, and home. And he kills Eddie during their internal battle.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's yeah, like I said, this is where shit gets serious. And the thing about Voss that I wanted to mention is that Voss, the thing that I like about Voss, that's cool about Voss, if you think about it, is that the character transcends genders, which is really cool. It doesn't matter if Voss is male or female, it's Voss. And Chris and Andrea would legit ask Brandon like during like filming, like, wait, who am I again? You know, like it was a real collaborative effort, and Chris would ask Andrea how she'd react to certain things so that he could act like her and help with that transcending.
Yeah, it's, you don't necessarily think about it, but you're like, yeah, they still got to be able, because you just see it in the movie and you just think of them like fighting, but that's a credit to the acting that you have to think about. Like, yeah, like he had to think about like how would she react to this, and he has to play it.
Oh yeah, and by the way, knowledge nug for all you listeners out there. When Sean Bean dies, who plays John Parse, 2.5 to 3 gallons of blood were used in that death, and only one puppet was made of Sean's head, so they had to get it right. And
Sean's an expert at dying.
And yeah, well, that puppet
he probably
head,
helped them. It's like that Ron Swanson meme. I know more than you.
That's fair enough. He plays the villain enough too, but Yeah, that puppet head, it took the beating it needed to. They only had one, but it did its job.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing bad about the effects.
No, not at all.
And then Tate here goes into Voss's home and holds her husband at gunpoint. And just like his dad, takes it up another level. And demanding to know what she did to him, Voss appears and goads Tate into killing Michael so that she could be free from a personal attachment. And when Michael knocks the gun from Tate's hand, Tate kills him with a meat cleaver. This is where the kills start getting fucking rough.
Yeah, it kind of it becomes a horror film here.
Then Ira stabs Tate in the throat, which, I'm going to say spoiler alert, that's probably my kill of the movie.
Yeah, same.
That thing was...
It's surprising.
That thing was Spartan.
It's hurting for a Spartan. It's a surprising kill. Those quick little throat stabs in movies are so surprising, and this is one of them.
I feel like I should be walking around with my neck protected more time.
I know.
I mean, Wu-Tang warned about it. Protect your neck.
Little fucking kids, man.
Fucking kids always stab people in the neck.
What the fuck? They're little knives.
Like I said, Ira stabs Tate in the throat and finally killed him, so had to do the job that your mom couldn't get done. Tate uses his last minutes to fatally shoot Ira, though it's clear that Voss is actually in control at this point. So the daughter kills the guy that she's trying to kill to get out of, and then she took over and just killed her daughter anyway. Pretty fucked up when you think about it.
Well, it was Jennifer Jason Leigh was the child.
Yeah.
And jumped in.
Yeah, I got to that.
That's right. I'm high. I got it. Sorry, I jumped ahead. My fault.
That's what I actually had next here. I was going to say that Voss returns to her own body and discovers Gerder had taken control of Ira to end her struggle with Tate. So once again, pointed back to his dad, you go up a level, go up another level, and then somehow still exceeded again.
And you got child deaths in there too.
And with Ira, oh yeah, that gunshot was rough.
It was just, oh yeah.
I think I used the word, even though I think it's the back of the head, right? Or no, it's the front of the head.
The front of the head, man.
Because I said it was like JFK,
brutal.
but from the front.
Yeah, JFK domed. No, that was what you said. You said, "Damn, domed him."
Yeah, I did be saying that.
I do be.
With Ira and Michael both dead, she's now free of all human attachment, just like Gerder wanted. And then Voss sorts through the same personal objects from the beginning of the film. She handles the butterfly again, but this time she doesn't express any guilt for killing it. Gerder smiles and replies, "Very good."
Knowledge nug. 9 gallons of blood were used for the film's Final Showdown. 9 gallons.
To be honest, I could have thought it was more.
Yeah, and also here's something. Let me jump back real quick before we conclude the movie. I forgot to say, here's something really cool about this movie that's just something unique. In the beginning of the film, there's a hotel scene where you see water coming out of a fountain, and the way that was done was they froze the water coming out of the fountain using sound. They used a subwoofer that was putting out 24 hertz of sound through a tube that the water ran through. Then they synced it with the camera speed. The vibrating piece of styrofoam that you see throughout the film was also used with sound. This was the first time that these tricks were done practically in a mainstream film.
Wow.
Using sound to make all that shit like vibrate, like freezing water and making like styrofoam. That's wild.
I would have never known that was styrofoam.
I know, right? It's so wild done. It is. Anyway, back to the end of the movie.
Yeah, I think we kind of wrapped that up there. Yeah, the fucking Cronenberg's just fucking twist after twist, but like
it leaves you with that bleak ending where Voss doesn't feel anything, and it ends, and it's like great. So like now she's gonna do this shit even more. Like she's lost all empathy and sympathy, and she's
fuck
just
that butterfly.
Heartless. She's just a heartless killer, and yeah, it's one of the. It's a very bleak ending. Doesn't need a sequel. Hopefully, never gets one. It's a brilliant film. It's a brilliant outing. Don't you think it's a brilliant film?
Yeah, it's amazing. Rotten Tomatoes actually even liked it 94% on Rotten
Nice.
Tomatoes out of 134 critic reviews. So
Oh yeah.
so it isn't like some of those ones where you're like, oh, it has 100% on Rotten Tomato, but it's been reviewed by 6 people.
No, and it's been out for like 2 years now. So yeah, it's credible. And this was one of those movies that
Debuted at Sundance too, another fucking Sundance movie. I
Yep.
swear, like we're getting these dark, bleak body horror, like emo-ish movies, and like none of this was planned. It's just I think it's just all we're like, oh well, if we did that, let's do this.
it's kind of segued.
And
Yeah.
most of them have been at Sundance or some kind of like film festival,
Yeah, and
but most of them have been Sundance, I believe.
yeah, and this movie is just it's intense, it's smart, it's very smart. It's trippy as hell. It's the Matrix for I would say it's the Matrix for horror fans. Is that fair?
That's a really good. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the Matrix a bunch of times, but I didn't think of coining that. Yeah,
So
and I was gonna say Brandon did good, just like his dad. He turned out to be more of a Colin Hanks instead of a Chet Hanks.
all right, so I say 8.5 out of 10.
I was gonna say somewhere between high 7s, low 8s. I'll go like an 8.2.
Okay. All right. So 2 thumbs up around the board.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like video.
4 thumbs up.
I was gonna say like Videodrome, where, and I feel like a lot of the movies we've done, it's kind of hard to do these without just giving the movie away, because you can't really just spoiler free. There's not a lot you could really even talk about.
There's no fun in spoiler free. There's no fun in spoiler free. But is 4 thumbs up gonna be our fucking new motto?
Quad thumbs.
Quad. Terrible. No, I was joking, and you made it worse.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm glad that you enjoyed Possessor. This movie, when it came out, I was trying to push it on everybody, and I remember it came out, and everywhere that got it on Blu-ray, and it was the rated version, and only the unrated version came in 4K. So I had to fucking wait until like it came in stock where I ordered my movies from, and it was like all late and wrong after people had already seen it, but it was worth it. And it's definitely one of those movies that I think has kind of flew under the radar. It's funny because I was talking to my friend today about this. There's 2 types of movies. I feel that a lot of people are like, feel that horror is stuck. They're like, oh, everything's Halloween reboots and Scream reboots and Jordan Peele, and it's all cliche and it's all Hollywood, and I don't like that stuff. And it's like, it's really not. If you look, there's movies out there like Possessor that like there's other shit out there that is just unique, that's unlike shit that you've seen before, that is a different path. You just got to know where to look. And Possessor is one of those movies, and I'm glad that that I stumbled upon it, and I'm glad that it's picking up steam, and that it's become like almost a household movie for genre fans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking about something. Like, you have so many of these good horror movies that don't get picked up by the big studios, and those aren't the ones being released. And the stuff that they do release a lot of times is just kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about, like, a lot of times I hear comparisons between horror and comedy that those are like the 2 genres that people don't respect in Hollywood.
That's fair.
But the thing is, like,
And they're both
how
the 2 that
many,
are done
like-
the most on like shoestring budgets.
but I feel like that's like, comedies just get pumped down. There's so many, like, just shitty comedies that get made, but I've heard of them, and like everybody knows them, but it's so hard to find good horror movies.
I agree. That's true. And but again, it's just like with Possessor, not that it's as extreme of some of these movies I'm about to list, but again, I was talking to my friend about this, and it's funny how there's always that little subcategory. You have your hardcore films, like you have like Necromantic and a Serbian film, and Untold Story,
Inside,
and,
Martyrs.
you have these movies, and like they're so hardcore, and then you have people who are like horror stuck. I hate horror right now. I don't like where it's at. It's all like cliche shit. And like I had said just a second ago, they don't like it. And it's like no, there's an alternate path. Like there's other movies out there. There's a whole other, like, I like to call it black horror, as if like like black metal, like it's like that dark shit. And it's like there's a whole other path that you can go down. But the thing is, it's a big jump. It's a big jump going from Scream 5 to Martyrs. It's a big jump going from Halloween Kills to Inside or Frontiers. So it's like, it's like there is other shit out there, but you gotta be careful and be, you gotta be careful what you wish for. And if you're looking for other types of horror, it's out there. You have to know where to look. Horror's not dead. It's just a lot of people don't want that type of horror, and you gotta know where to look if that's what you want to find.
And you will be judged for liking some of these movies.
Yeah, you will. You will.
Did you see Cronenberg, what his next film is? Well, Brandon Cronenberg.
Yeah, go ahead, though. Tell us what
Infinity Pool.
Yep.
Alexander Skarsgård. You just tell me those two, I'm in.
Agreed. By the way, you hear it here first. There will be a Northman review coming from High on Horror.
You boy Robert Eggers, right? You love
High on Horror.
The High on Horror. I mean, I'm always down to see an Eggers movie. I've been... it's like, for me, it's kind of almost like Christopher Nolan at this point, where I just hear...
It's not there for me, but it's credible, but it's not there for me.
But what I mean is, like, I just hear their name. I hear, oh, Christopher Nolan has a new movie. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to see it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be
good. And
then,
like, I remember it was like Robert Eggers' Northman. I'm like, I assume it's going to be about Vikings. I don't know much else besides that. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names. But if I'm not a big fan of yours, I'm not very likely to remember your name in all fairness. But the dude who directed The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke thought that movie was amazing. Just like I thought The Lighthouse was amazing by Eggers. It's funny because these directors, like, I feel that they have at least one movie that I like, but then they have like other movies that are praised that I dislike.
I was right. It was Darren Aronofsky.
Okay, yeah. Damn it, you made me lose my train of thought.
You said, fucked you up. You said you were talking about how they each have a movie you like.
Yes, and the thing about Eggers is that I really just dislike The Witch, and never mind. I don't remember where I was going with that fucker.
Anyway, I was gonna say, I know you don't like The Witch, and a lot of people.
I got you. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna cut you off now. The dude who directed The Wrestler, he did The Wrestler, obviously, and it was an awesome movie. But then he did Black Swan. And like everybody thought that movie was so great, and I hated that movie. And and then Eggers does The Witch, and I'm not a fan of that movie, but I like The Lighthouse. So these guys are hit and miss. They're not all. I mean, but people feel the same way about Ari Aster. There's a lot of people that loved Hereditary but hated Midsommar, and vice versa.
Oh yeah. If you want to start a fight on a fucking horror group, just ask somebody's opinion of fucking either one of those movies, and it's just. You
ask Ari Aster, and people get mad. You ask Eli Roth, and people laugh.
Yeah, dude, Eli Roth needs to stop directing forever. Forever. Okay, maybe that was harsh. But he can go wash his ass or whatever.
What? Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, I think we get it too high.
Yeah, we've been too high.
Thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at High on Horror 420. And next week, we're going to talk about Studio 666. I mean, it's a combination of Dave Grohl and John Carpenter. I mean, when I saw John Carpenter was doing the music for it, I thought it was bullshit. I was like, oh, this is some fake thing.
And then he's actually in the movie too, which is cool.
So it's on it's streaming. I mean, you gotta rent it, but
early access, I believe it's called, VOD, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Easy access, whatever. So we'll be back with you for that next week. Make sure to check out our website, highonhorror.com, and sign up for our newsletter so you get the latest episodes and guest announcements sent to your inbox. Also, make sure to check out highonhorror.threadless.com. You can pick up everything from beepers to DVD players. I'm joking. I had to get an old school reference in there. But seriously, we have shirts, bags, magnets. I mean, we have bath mats, and even like you can get a fucking skateboard. Like,
Oh shit.
there's fucking everything pretty much in there. So make sure to check that out again. It's highonhorror.threadless.com. And we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/highonhorror. And we have 4 different tiers. You can join the 8th Club, Quarter Club, Half Club, or the Ounce Club. So make sure to check that out as well. And
I'm an ounce person myself.
and I think that'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
Bye, everybody.